Hello everyone, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. On today's episode, we're going to be taking these strawberry plants that we've been growing inside for the winter and planting them into our raised garden bed here. It's going to be a fun episode, so I hope you stay around for some of these little tips and tricks along the way. So these strawberry plants, we actually had growing downstairs in the basement all winter long because we got them at a local garage sale. It was late fall last year, and I kind of postponed putting them in the ground a little bit too late. So if I would have put them in the ground, they would have died. So we just thought we might as well grow them downstairs in the basement. So we did that. We actually got a couple of strawberries throughout the winter as well. So that was kind of neat. And what we did after growing them throughout the winter was we brought them outside once we saw nighttime temperatures regularly above, say, like 24 to 26 degrees. So after hardening them off, these did freeze a couple of times. In fact, over the past month since we've had them out here, maybe a month and a half, they probably froze about 6 times. And as a result of that, some of these leaves are starting to darken up, kind of like they're going through a winter stage in their growth. So what we essentially did throughout this time period from bringing them outside was induce a winter-like state on them. And now that the temperatures are warming up, we're going to plant them in the garden bed, and then they're going to start growing and shooting out runners just like they normally would. Now, this entire process, if you don't grow them indoors in the winter, that really doesn't matter. If you got some strawberries during the springtime, a whole bunch of them, you're going to follow the same steps here. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on how we grew these throughout the winter. So all you have to do really is quite simple. We're going to dig up the strawberries here, and we'll be able to separate the bunches of them. As you can tell, there's kind of a set right here, and then there's another set over here. So I'm just going to break apart the soil and the root structure, separating these two. And then this is what I'll plant in the garden. Let's pop one here. We'll place them about a foot apart throughout this whole part of the bed. That's a real nice chunk right there. You see we've got a flower. So we're gonna get a strawberry right there in not too long. So let's separate these out a little bit farther from each other. Okay, just like that. Now we have separated all of our different runners and the portions of the plant. Show you guys nice and close what that looks like. Just like that. And then all we're going to do is place them in the soil. So obviously the main portion of that plant where the roots begin to grow, just bury that under the ground and make sure that all of your green leaves and that main stem coming out, that is going to be right above the soil. Usually don't have to do a whole lot of fertilization with strawberries, but what I will do is just put some of our compost all around the area so that can soak up into the soil. And another great additive is mycorrhizal fungi. I've already added mycorrhizal fungi to this garden bed, so it should be growing in the soil as we speak. But that's a great amendment to any soil, no matter what type of plant you're growing. I really do recommend that all of you guys grow with mycorrhizal fungi amendments. Generally, whenever you do any sort of transplanting, it's a good idea to give a nice and deep watering right afterwards. And last is more of what I would call an optional step, But I adhere to this rule whenever I pretty much grow any vegetables in my garden. We always have wood chips and mulch on hand. We actually get it dropped off for free by our local public works department at the city. So if you call your city and ask them if they do a curbside brush pickup, ask them if they'd be willing to drop off some wood chips at your home. They'll take a dump truck full, dump it on your driveway, and then you can spread it throughout the garden beds. And that's what I really like to do. I use it as a base of the garden beds around the raised beds. And then once I have seedlings growing, I will spread it across the surface as well. So right here, we've got it in between all of our raised beds. And then once our plants are growing, I will spread about an inch on top of the surface. So we're gonna do the same with the strawberries. Obviously, I make sure not to cover the strawberry plants, but work in the wood chips all around them. Then I will go over the surface of all those wood chips and mulch. Give it a nice soaking. It's going to help retain all of this moisture, and also it's going to help start breaking down the wood chips into the soil. There we go. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you found all the answers that you needed. Stay tuned and subscribe if you are not already, because we've got a ton of awesome content here on the channel. As you can tell, we've got a ton of vegetables growing. We also have different trees and shrubs, landscaping, perennial flowers, annual flowers, you name it, we're trying to grow it here in the garden. Happy gardening, and we'll see you in the next episode.